Let's be real, you've probably seen it happen. A guy treats a woman like gold, gives her everything, texts her back instantly, plans thoughtful dates, and showers her with affection. And what happens? She gets bored. Meanwhile, there's another guy who barely responds, keeps his distance, doesn't chase, and she's obsessed. You sit there wondering, what the hell is going on? The truth is hard to swallow, but here it is. Women often crave the men who don't make them their top priority. Not because they want to be disrespected, not because they're broken, but because human psychology, especially female psychology, reacts powerfully to uncertainty, challenge, and emotional highs and lows. This isn't about playing games. This is about understanding what actually triggers obsession in the modern dating world. Women are emotional creatures. They connect to what makes them feel. And when you're too available, too nice, too predictable, she doesn't feel that surge. But when you're composed, a little distant, and centered in your own world, she starts chasing. Most guys were never taught this. They were told to be polite, generous, romantic. And while that has its place, it's not what builds obsession. Obsession is born from a different formula, one that has everything to do with tension, value, and control. In this video, I'll break it all down. 7 clear truths about why women chase men who don't value them, and how to flip the script in your favor. Let's get into it. 1. The power of emotional uncertainty. Emotional uncertainty is one of the strongest forces that keeps a woman hooked. It's that nagging feeling of not knowing where she stands with you. It sounds cruel, but it's how the human brain works. We're wired to crave what we can't fully predict or control. Women especially connect deeply with feelings, and when your energy is unpredictable, it stirs up emotion in her. When you're always available, always texting back instantly, always affirming her, she doesn't need to think. She doesn't wonder. She doesn't question anything. And because of that, she doesn't feel the emotional tension that creates attraction. That tension is the hook. It's what makes her check her phone constantly. It's what keeps her thinking about you at night. Not knowing exactly what you're feeling, what you want, or where things are going. That's powerful. Now, this isn't about being manipulative. It's about not giving everything up front. When you pace the connection and control your responses, she starts to feel. She starts analyzing your texts. She starts telling her friends about you. She starts wanting to win your attention. Here's where most men fail. They think consistency is what women want. And yes, women say they want consistency, but they feel attraction toward mystery and unpredictability. It's why they fantasize about bad boys and emotionally unavailable types. It's not the toxicity they love. It's the emotional roller coaster those men create, even if they don't realize it. If you're the type who responds to her instantly, cancels your plans for her, or always says yes, you've killed the chase, you've removed the very thing that activates her desire. The secret is to slow down, let her sit in the unknown a little. Don't explain yourself. Don't validate her every thought. Let silence work for you. Another powerful tool? Pullbacks. Slight ones. Not ghosting, just shifting your energy. Don't initiate for a day. Leave her message on read for a while. Focus on your life, your grind. The moment you stop trying to manage her emotions is the moment she starts managing herself around you. That's when you flip the dynamic. Women want to feel the spark, and that spark is born from contrast, hot and cold, close and distant, available and gone. This is how emotions get activated. When she's not sure where she stands, she invests more, tries harder, and thinks more. In modern dating, men who understand this principle don't chase, they attract. They don't pour out all their attention, they let her earn it. That's what makes her obsess. Because when she feels like she has something to figure out, something to win, she keeps coming back. Control the tension. Let her guess a little. That's how you stay in her mind. 2. Scarcity creates value. Think about this. When something is rare, it becomes valuable. That is how the world works. And dating is no different. If every man she meets is throwing himself at her, giving her attention 24/7, liking all her photos, replying with heart emojis and begging for her time, then none of them stand out. But when one man doesn't do that, when one man steps back, keeps his presence minimal, and doesn't treat her like a prize, she notices. That's the law of scarcity. People want what they can't easily have. When you're scarce with your time, energy, and availability, you create demand. You make her work for access. You signal that your attention isn't cheap, and that if she wants it, she'll have to step up. Most men do the opposite. They flood a woman with attention, thinking that more equals better, but in reality, too much access makes her lose respect. She assumes you have nothing going on. She starts to believe she's above you. And from that moment, the dynamic is ruined. She'll never truly chase a man she doesn't feel is valuable. So how do you create scarcity? You become intentional. You don't jump on every opportunity to see her. You're selective about your conversations. You take your time to reply. You live your life first, the gym, the hustle, your hobbies, your mission. That all comes before her. And when she does get a piece of your time, she feels like she earned it. Women obsess over men who feel like a reward, not a default. You don't need to be rude or cold. Just make it clear that you're not just another guy hoping to impress her. You're busy, focused, and she's lucky to even get a moment with you. Scarcity also creates imagination. When you're not constantly available, her mind fills in the blanks. Where is he? Who is he with? Why hasn't he texted back yet? That curiosity is powerful. It makes her more emotionally invested. And the more she invests, the more she chases. That's how obsession builds, through small doses of attention and a strong sense of mystery. Also, do not overshare. A man who lays everything on the table too soon kills curiosity. Let her discover you over time. Be the type of man she can't figure out after one date or 10 texts. That mystery keeps her interested. In the modern world, women have endless access to men through their phones. If you want to stand out, you have to be different, less available, more mysterious, scarce. You're not cold, you're selective, you're not mean, you're focused. And in doing that, you raise your value without saying a word. Scarcity doesn't push her away, it draws her in. Because the harder something is to get, the more she'll convince herself it's worth having. 3. Rejection. Triggers desire. Here's something no one tells you. Rejection, or even the threat of rejection, triggers a deep psychological response in women. It taps into something primal. The moment she senses that you might not want her, or worse, that you're capable of walking away, she starts chasing. Not because she's weak, not because she's insecure, but because people are wired to want what slips through their fingers. Modern dating is full of men who tiptoe around women, trying not to offend, not to lose them, not to make them uncomfortable. But by doing that, they lose power. Women want a man who's secure enough to say, "If this isn't right for me, I'll walk." That alone changes the entire dynamic. You don't need to yell. You don't need to be dramatic. You just need to mean it. A man who's willing to reject what doesn't serve him is a man she takes seriously. Because now, you become the prize. She starts thinking, what if he stops liking me? What if he disappears? What if he finds someone better? Those thoughts create fear of loss, and fear of loss is one of the strongest motivators in human psychology. When a woman gets rejected, even slightly, her ego takes a hit. And depending on how you handle it, she'll either walk away or try harder. If you do it with class, confidence, and silence, most women will come back stronger than before. They'll dress better, call more, put in effort. Because now there's something to prove. This is why women chase the guy who didn't put her on a pedestal. The one who didn't laugh at all her jokes, didn't compliment her every 10 seconds, and didn't beg for her attention. He was different. He made her doubt herself for a second. And in that doubt, she started to invest emotionally. You can create this effect without even saying a word. A look, a delayed response. Not chasing her after a disagreement. Not trying to fix everything instantly. These small actions speak loudly. They say, "I like you, but I don't need you." That's the most attractive position a man can hold. Here's another truth. Most women are used to being chased. That's the default setting in their life. So when a man breaks that pattern, she notices. She becomes intrigued, and then obsessed. Not because of what he said, but because of how he made her feel. Off balance, uncertain, curious. You don't need to be an asshole. You just need to be willing to walk away from anything that isn't aligned. That silent rejection, that moment where she feels you slipping away, does more than any compliment or gift ever could. Remember this. Chasing doesn't build desire, space does. Resistance does. Rejection, when used right, flips the entire game. And suddenly, you're not the one chasing anymore. 4. Indifference is magnetic. A man who is indifferent holds all the power, not because he plays games, but because nothing, yet no one, can shake him. Women are drawn to this, not to coldness, but to a quiet confidence that says, I'm good, with or without you. That energy is rare. It's magnetic, and it drives women wild. When you're indifferent, you stop being reactive. If she takes hours to reply, you don't care. If she cancels plans, you don't chase. If she pulls away emotionally, you give her space. Why? Because you know who you are. You're not emotionally dependent on her attention, her presence, or her validation. This is what most men get wrong. They confuse attention with affection. The moment a woman pulls back, they panic. They over-explain, they double-text, they try to fix something that isn't even broken. And in that moment, they lose her. Not because of what they said, but because of the message their behavior sends. I need you too much. Indifference says the opposite. It says, you're not the center of my world. And when a woman feels that, it messes with her ego in a very specific way. She starts asking herself, why isn't he affected? Does he even like me? What's going on in his mind? That curiosity is the beginning of obsession. Indifference doesn't mean you're rude or emotionless. It means you're centered. It means you're not shaken by her moods, her tests, or her silence. You don't crumble. You stay calm, collected, and focused. And that calmness becomes something she starts craving because it makes her feel unstable in comparison. And people always chase the thing that makes them feel off balance. When you're indifferent, you naturally create space. You let her wonder, you make her think about you more than you think about her. That's powerful. Because now she's doing the chasing, she's seeking the validation, she's trying to figure out how to win your full attention. It also changes the way you speak. You don't over-explain. You don't justify every move. You say less, and what you do say hits harder. That's because you're not trying to be liked. You're not trying to win her approval. You already like yourself, and that makes your presence feel grounded, stable, and rare. And here's the real key. Women respect indifferent men. They might not always say it out loud, but they feel it. Because deep down, they know most men are emotional reactors. Most men are too available, too eager, too quick to fold. But the man who stays centered in the storm, that man stands out. She'll test you. She'll try to provoke emotion. She'll push boundaries just to see if you'll react. And when you don't, when you stay calm, focused, and unbothered, she'll start craving your attention like it's oxygen. That's what indifference does. In today's dating world, where emotional chaos is everywhere, indifference is a superpower. Stay grounded, stay busy, and stop trying to prove your worth. The moment you stop chasing is the moment she starts chasing you. 5. Emotional control. Wins. If there's one skill that separates the men, women forget from the men they obsess over, it's emotional control. We live in a world full of overreactions, mood swings, emotional outbursts, and dramatic behavior. It's everywhere. Social media, text fights, gossip, chaos. But when a man shows up with calm, composed, grounded energy, he stands out immediately. That kind of control is rare, and to a woman, it's irresistible. Why? Because it makes her feel safe and intrigued at the same time. Safe, because she knows you're not going to lose it over small things. Intrigued, because she can't read you, and when a woman can't read you, she starts focusing all her energy, trying to figure you out. That's how obsession begins. Here's the truth. Women will test you, consciously or not. They'll push buttons, start little arguments, challenge your opinions, or say things just to see if they can control your mood, and most men fail this test instantly. They raise their voice, get defensive, try to explain themselves into circles, or worse, try to fix everything to keep the peace. That's weak energy. The man who wins is the one who stays calm, the one who doesn't flinch, the one who lets her emotions rise and fall without being pulled into her chaos. That man becomes a rock, and in a world full of emotionally unstable men, that rock becomes everything. Women obsess over men who can handle their storms, not by controlling her, but by controlling himself. Emotional control says, "You can bring your fire, but I won't burn." That's attractive. That's powerful. And it tells her something deeper. This man is not afraid to walk away, because that's the ultimate proof of emotional control. The ability to walk away from drama, manipulation, or chaos without blinking. You do not chase closure. You do not beg for understanding. You do not explain your worth. You simply leave, calmly, and let your silence do the talking. This drives women crazy in the best way. Not because you're playing a game, but because they're not used to it. They're used to emotional chaos, not calm detachment. They're used to men breaking down, not standing tall. They're used to guys trying to fix everything, not holding the line. Here's something else. Emotional control gives you the upper hand in every conversation. You choose when to speak. You choose when to respond. You don't send that text out of emotion. You don't react to every shift in her tone. You're in control of yourself, and by extension, the entire interaction. This isn't about bottling things up or becoming cold. It's about owning your energy, being able to pause, process, and respond with clarity. Because the man who controls his emotions controls the room, and the woman in front of him feels that. Mastering emotional control doesn't just help you win in relationships, it helps you win in life. Stay calm, stay grounded, stay in charge. 6, the power of pulling back. If you really want to flip the script on a woman, pull back. Not as a punishment, not as a tactic, but as a natural response when her energy shifts, when her effort drops, or when she starts to test your worth. Most men panic in these moments. They start doing more. They try to convince her. They increase effort when she decreases hers. And without realizing it, they destroy the tension that actually makes her desire grow. You want to stand out? Learn to pull back. Pulling back is not ghosting. It's not manipulation. It's awareness. It's a signal that says, I sense the shift, and I'm not going to fight for a spot in your life. That alone makes her reevaluate everything. Because when a woman feels you pull back, your attention, your presence, your energy, she starts to notice the gap you leave behind. That silence becomes loud. That space becomes uncomfortable. And she starts wondering, where did he go? Why did he stop trying? Did I do something wrong? That internal questioning is gold. It's what builds obsession. Most men ruin this opportunity. They chase the moment they feel her pulling away. They explain, they overtalk, they text long paragraphs. All of it screams insecurity. All of it screams, you're more important to me than I am to myself. But the man who pulls back silently, with grace, sends a different message. I am not dependent on your attention. That's powerful. That's rare. Here's what happens when you pull back. She starts remembering all the little things you did. Your presence, your vibe, your conversation, your touch. She starts replaying it. Not because you said anything, but because you stopped saying everything. And here's what's crazy. When you pull back, women often come back stronger. They reach out first. They bring up your name in conversations. They drop hints. They test the waters. Because in that space, she feels your value. She sees what life feels like without your attention. And if you were showing up as a grounded, confident, emotionally controlled man before, she will miss you deeply. Timing matters too. Pull back when she takes you for granted. Pull back when she stops putting in effort. Pull back when she becomes emotionally distant. Not to punish, but to protect your energy. Let her feel your absence. Because only in your absence will she truly understand your presence. Don't over-explain it. Don't announce it. Just move different. Go silent. Focus on your life, your goals, your mission. Pull your energy inward. That shift will speak louder than anything you could possibly say. Pulling back recenters your value. It restores the dynamic. It reminds her, you are not always available, not always waiting, not always chasing. And when a woman starts chasing you again, it's because she realized something important. She lost the attention of a man who knew his worth. 7. Scarcity increases value. Nothing makes a woman want you more than realizing she cannot have all of you whenever she wants. Scarcity creates value. It's human nature. The less accessible something is, the more people obsess over it. This is why women become fixated on men who are not always available, not always texting, not always showing up on demand. You have to stop giving yourself away so easily. In modern dating, accessibility is overrated. Constant texting, endless calls, back-to-back plans. It kills mystery. It removes space. It makes you feel predictable. And what's predictable never gets chased. Men who are always around, always replying instantly, always trying to fit into a woman's schedule, they become background noise. But the man who shows up with intention, then disappears into his own world, that man becomes unforgettable. This doesn't mean you ignore her. It means you don't make yourself too common. You don't show up more than she earns. You don't invest more than she does. You stay present when you're together, but when you're not, you're focused on your purpose, your mission, your goals. That balance makes your presence feel like a gift, not a given. Women crave what they can't easily figure out. If you're always available, she knows where you are. She knows you'll reply. She knows she has you. But when you become scarce, when you pull back, when you prioritize yourself, now she has to wonder. Now she's thinking. Now you're not just another guy texting her. You're a man she has to earn. And the moment she starts putting in effort, that's when her obsession begins to grow, because people only value what they have to work for. That's true in business, in friendships, and in romance. Effort creates attachment. Let her feel that. Create a life that is so full, mentally, physically, emotionally, that you're not waiting on her to fill a void. That's when your attention becomes a reward. That's when your time becomes a privilege. And women feel that shift. It's also about energy. Don't always be the first to reach out. Let her initiate. Let her wonder. Let her wait. When she reaches out, don't drop everything instantly. Respond when it makes sense. Keep your world moving, regardless of her presence in it. That creates tension. That tension keeps her emotionally invested. Scarcity isn't a trick, it's discipline. It's knowing that too much of anything becomes unappreciated. And when you apply this to your presence, you become the kind of man she can't stop thinking about, because she never feels like she fully has you. That gap between what she wants from you and what you choose to give is where desire is born. That's the space where obsession lives. Give her just enough. Then disappear into your life. Let her chase the rest. Modern dating isn't about chasing. It's about positioning. Women become obsessed with men who know their value, who stay calm under pressure, who pull back when necessary, and who don't make themselves too available. These men create emotional impact through mystery, control, and scarcity, not through words, but through presence. If you want her to chase, stop giving everything away. Focus on becoming the man she can't quite figure out, the man she remembers, the man who leaves a mark. Because in the end, it's not the loudest guy who wins. It's the quiet, rare one who knows when to walk away.